Hello, lovely people. Welcome to my traditional birthday chat.
Dooby 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 doo. Dooby 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 Sophie Vlogs.
The birthday chat video has become tradition by now. I am recording this ever so slightly before my birthday, but you are hopefully watching it on my birthday. This is just a little bonus video I do every year that is less bookish focused and more just how's the year been? What's going on in my life? More of a little Sophie update, if you will. In the past, I've used it a lot to set a lot of goals and that kind of stuff. I think this year we're just going to be doing a little bit more reflecting and observing rather than goal setting. I rewatched last year's video quite recently, and I think also I remember what I said in my reflecting on 2025 reading goals, and I remember being like, I'm not really going to set myself any goals for the last year because I was working on learning to drive, buying a house. We bought a house. That was one of the best things that happened in the last year of my life. Absolutely. This house is such a gift. The garden in it is like a real soothing balm to my soul. We have lots of decorating to do. This room, oh, let me get you a paint sample. This room that I now do all my recording in is my office slash craft room slash spare bedroom for guests. So we have like a fold out sofa bed in it, and then the rest of the time it has my desk for doing my actual work at, and then a lot of my crafty stuff. I cannot get this colour to show up well on camera, but I guess that's almost right. This like soft buttery yellow is what I want the walls to be, because my inspo point is this pom-pom wreath I made a while ago. So I want the walls to be this colour. I want this pom-pom wreath to be like central on a gallery wall above the sofa bed. And then I've got, this one is blue. I've got a pink one of these in that corner which has all my craft stuff on. And the curtains in this room are like wildflowers, so they're picking up on like blues, yellows, pinks, all that kind of thing. So I want this room to be a cozy little haven. So like people who come to stay will feel really snug, and then also it'll be like my inspiring little creative space. Haven't really made that happen yet, but eventually I will be filming in front of like more exciting colours at least. Yeah, that was really exciting. That's one of the best things to happen in the last year. It was really interesting watching last year's video back, because I think last birthday I was in like such a wonderful place. In that video I like showed you a bunch of things I had made, like pottery and crafting, and I talked about some exciting projects I've been working on in like my professional life. And I had been on loads of adventures, and I was very like high energy, full of positivity. This year has been much more challenging than I expected it to be. And I mean, if you watched my little life update video, maybe in April, I've lost all sense of time. Obviously, you'll know that we had some unexpected challenges this year. I've been really trying this, specifically the last couple of weeks, to like reframe in my mind what this last year has been, because I was very hopeful last birthday, and I was like, I'm gonna start driving lessons, we're gonna buy a house, everything's gonna come together. And for a while I was using maybe more loaded language to describe the last year of my life, such as 2026 has been one of the worst years of my life, and now I'm trying to reframe it in my brain to one of the most challenging years of my life, because actually at this point in July, I can now take stock and appreciate that we, although have had some challenges, actually have been very lucky in many ways. So thank you for everyone who messaged and recommended books and was just like generally lovely. I think I did pop in a couple of updates into other videos, but if we're doing chatty life update, my family members who were in the motorbike accident are doing actually like really well compared to how they could be. Like lots of healing still to do, but let this be a reminder to us all, should you go on bikes, please always wear the gear, because the gear has very much like made a massive difference to my family's recovery. So that's incredible. That's such a big relief. Like, whew. My Crohn's disease I do think that Crohn's disease has sort of been like the dominating part of the last year, really, because I started getting a lot of the symptoms in November, and I got my official diagnosis in April. And since April, I have been starting all of my treatment. I have health conditions already. Adjusting to actually, like, I guess officially being chronically ill has been like a real, I think, thread of the last year. um, and been a it's definitely been like a little bit of a challenge. I have like multiple friends who are chronically ill. I've like over my course of my life really tried to like learn and educate myself and all of that, and then there's knowing something intellectually, and then there's like actually experiencing something in your life, and they are very different things, and it has made this last year of my life quite challenging. I feel like I have spent a lot of it in pain, obviously, but also quite a lot of it like just it's affected my brain a lot more than I think I would have thought on the tin that Crohn's disease would do. But actually, because I have like no iron and all of this, like I just my energy levels and my brain fog have been quite high. And I would, again, if we're looking on the bright side, I would say that the last like 2 weeks have been like notably better, which is really great. Well, I'm on combination therapy, but before that, I went on a course of steroids, and the steroids made me feel really rotten. And then coming off the steroids made me feel really rotten. And now I'm on these tablets which are essentially like immunomodulators, so they like suppress your immune system. And then I'm also have just started having I've had 2 infliximab infusions in the hospital, which is a anti-inflammatory, and it's a biologic, which means it's like a live medicine, so you can't take it as a tablet. So my first 2 sessions were like 5 hours in the hospital being infused through an IV, which just knocked the socks off of me, made me so tired, honestly. I now know they call it like an infusion hangover, and like, good God, yes, really like knocked the socks off of me. But the last 2 weeks, I feel like I can really feel the effects of the combination, and like I feel like they are working. I feel like it's really interesting to be recording this little like life update birthday chat kind of thing at this very point, because I've just started to, I don't feel like my old self, but I've just started to have enough back in me that I can, it's almost like now I have enough back in me, I can see how long I've been existing at like a completely like taken out stage. Like, I don't know, it's really funny, isn't it? Sometimes you have to get a little bit better to realize like, oh, actually no, I have been quite ill. I'll stop waffling away about Crohn's disease. It's just, it has really been like the defining feature of, I feel like, the 32 year. So I had these golden plans where, because I'm turning 33, and 33 is the age at which a hobbit comes of age, I had these grand plans where I was going to do a hobbit coming of age birthday party, and I was going to get like a little like no admittance except on party business sign for the front door, and I was going to just like invite loads of people over and do like a garden party. I haven't done that because I have not been present enough to even contemplate organising anything of that particular level. It's nice to be feeling a bit brighter again, and it's definitely patchy. I have days where I still like energy management is really something I'm having to learn. Again, I've utilised spoon theory in conversation with people like for years of my life, and now I'm finally understanding it as a lived experience much more. But that's fine. That's what life is, isn't it? You learn, you grow. It's definitely been my biggest challenge of the last year, but I also feel like it's been my biggest growth point. I know I'm sounding really chipper about this today. I would say that this is a very recent occurrence of like feeling much more chipper. I've been really also struggling with I like steroids can really mess up your emotions, and it's like a known side effect. Definitely been struggling with like levels of sadness that I don't normally like have, and that's been also really interesting because I don't quite yet know if that is a temporary hormonal disruption from medication or is a completely logical reaction to having life-changing health news. Haven't quite modeled that one out yet, but I definitely, this is sort of like a waffly way of saying that the treatment is going well. I am starting to feel better. I have really appreciated everyone's nice messages and lovely words because, as well as it being a bit physically of an ordeal, it's definitely been like mentally has really had an effect on my brain. And I've definitely been like balancing a level of sadness that I have not really had depths of before. So that's been where having like the lovely book recommendations that people gave me has been like really lovely, because unplugging from everything and just reading a lovely comforting book has really been like one of my main coping mechanisms. So really really appreciate all of that. It's like a really nice project that I feel is like following me through this year, is having this like reading list that I can tick off as I go, that's just everyone's like bestest little book recs. So that's been a delight. Thank you. Shall we talk about something that's not Sophie's health? Yes. So because I have been feeling a little bit better, we have started doing a few more day trips, nowhere near the same level as last year, but I have been recording little snippets of things, and they are going into both my summer library reading vlogs and then also my TBR Reading Spa reading vlogs. They will all have clips of some of the fun things I've been doing. I've been really trying to like get out into seeing historic houses and lovely gardens and all of that kind of thing. So that's like my happy place, my favourite things to be doing. So it's been really nice to start dipping my toes back into that again. I'm particularly loving gardens right now. Having a garden has really unlocked something in me, and our garden is very much like nothing has happened to it. The previous people who lived there here like had kids, and it was like a football pitch and a trampoline and all that kind of thing. So what we've been doing this first year is just like letting the garden like be and just seeing what's already there, which has been great because it turns out there's some great stuff that's already there. So we have like a strip that we've been leaving as like a wild zone that the pollinators have been loving. There's been we have a couple of like, we have some fruit trees, which is really exciting, and they've not been ready to like harvest yet, but it's coming. And there's also like area where I could definitely plant something. So I have this like little mini project going in the back of my mind that is, there is space for a flower bed here. What is going to be in it? So going around gardens has been really inspiring, and I really like the idea of planting something that is very much pollinator friendly. I want to lead with that. We have so many different types here of bees and butterflies and moths. I have been really activating in the butterfly and moth world because we've had some really interesting ones in our garden. So excited about butterflies and moths. Like, it's so exciting to me that they live here. We have cinnabar moths, and we have loads of cinnabar moth caterpillars currently eating all the ragwort in our garden, because I've just been this is the thing about letting things grow, is I don't know which plants it is currently that all of the different pollinators love. So now I'm learning which ones are the ones that are sustaining them. I'm going to make sure that whatever I do with the garden doesn't get rid of all of that, because we have a little bit of like a nature corridor here between like our back gardens, and it is an area where, like, our little area that we live, they have like a board up that has like the bugs. This is like a nature friendly zone. These are the bugs that you can see around here, and so I want to make sure that those are still supported. So that's been really exciting. Gardens is like I'm activating, but at the same time I don't really know anything. Like, from a practical skills point of view. So I've got a lot to learn, which is really exciting to me because I love to learn things. And it's something that I feel I can learn while being ill, which has been great, because a lot of it doesn't require me. Eventually I will physically have to do things in the garden, but currently all I really have to do is go around with my little watering can to water my pots and like look at all the animals and creatures and be like, ooh, you're cool, ooh, you seem to like this plant, ooh, blah blah blah. And then like I'm just like learning, and then I can just like plot and draw and plan. And so that's really really fun, and I'm really enjoying that, and it's making me very excited. I guess that's been a really heavy theme of the last year, and that's delightful. I feel like eventually decorating might get there, but currently thinking about decorating is actually beyond me. Can't be doing that right now. That's like a level of learning that I don't have in my brain, but we'll get there eventually. I guess I'm looking at books and thinking about books. Reading has been interesting. I've been continuing to read voraciously. I will say for sure the amount of audiobooks listened to has increased, because sometimes when my energy levels are fluctuating, I find it a lot easier to lie in a dark room listening to an audiobook. That's been like a real theme of the last year. So definitely my audiobook levels have increased. Resultantly, I prefer listening to non-fiction than fiction. And as a result, for the first time in my life, 51% of my reading so far this year has been non-fiction. So actually, I've read more non-fiction this year than fiction, which is like completely flipping it. Like previous years, every time I do this update, I'm like, a third of my reading is non-fic. Look at me now, who is she? So that's really exciting. I hope that is enjoyable to you. I know that non-fiction is not everyone's bag, but hopefully it's still enjoyable to hear about when I do my wrap-ups. Continued to use my library like mad. I'm really leaning into over summer, because summer, I love to do my summer library book reading vlogs, because it reminds me of when I was a child and I used to do the summer reading challenge at my local library, and it just taps into something within me, and I'm really letting myself indulge this summer in library books. And then I'm thinking about autumn time, I might rein it in a bit and make sure I read my actual books that I own, because there's a lot of lovely ones here. I'm just getting very I put lots of holds on things that have like a massive queue, and then they just inevitably all come through at the same time, even though that is not what I would anticipate happening. I haven't had as deep dive into like authors as I did last year. Last year was a real Tove Jansson year. This year I am kind of dabbling in Elif Shafak. I've read 2 this year so far, but I have 2 more that someone has lent me, so I'm definitely going to do like a little Elif Shafak, like dabbly. I'm not sure there's been a particularly through line. Well, I guess I've had a bit of a Mesopotamian moment, that's for sure. Elif Shafak tapped into that. And I guess I've been reading quite a bit about like set during the English Civil Wars as well. That's been like an unintentional reading theme. I've like done a few that are set during that time period, which I guess is interesting. Didn't do that intentionally, it's just worked out that way. But otherwise, there's no like strongly arching, like sometimes, you know, it's like this, though a couple of years ago was Sophie's arty book year for sure. Haven't had like a defining thing yet. However, you know, the 2026 year is still young, there's still a way to go. We'll see what develops there. I think that's sort of everything on a reading front. I don't know how interesting this has been. What I'm hopefully doing the day that you are seeing this is I have hopefully settled on which fancy garden I would like to visit, and will be frolicking to the best of my ability, and then maybe going and buying some books and maybe eating some nice food. So that's like the rough plan. I haven't really finalised it yet because the brain's been a bit hither and thither. But yeah, hopefully I'm having a lovely time when you watch this, and hopefully you are too. I would really like to hear how your life is going outside of reading, if you want to share. Like, well, I guess you could do both. Like, how is your life going? How is your year going? I think that like July is a nice point to reflect. I know that everyone is doing their like mid-year book freakout tag, which is, to be honest with you, not actually my favourite video to watch, so I never record it, but I kind of utilise this as like a how's the year going touch point anyway. So if you'd like to do a similar thing, do just let me know how you're going. Or like, how is your reading year going? Have you noticed any? Are you a person who tends to have strong reading themes throughout a year? And if so, have you noticed any? Are there particular authors that you are exploring this year? Like, is there anything that's like, ooh, looking back at the last 6 months, 6 to 7 months, this is like a running theme? I'd be very interested to hear. Anyway, yes. Hope everything is just wonderful with you. Thank you for watching. I guess the thing I haven't said is that when I get a bit sad, I worry that my videos have become very boring because I don't have a lot of brain, and I'm not sure that I'm doing like the best videos that I could be doing right now. So the fact that you are watching this does mean a lot, and I really appreciate it. I hope that life is good for you, and I will see you next time for something different.